Good evening. Call to order, and the community of the Arm of Gimli acknowledges that we are in Treaty 1 territory, and the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, including the Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, Dene people, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. I'd like someone to move the adoption of the agenda of the special meeting of council of May 9th, 2024.
Move.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Adjourn special meeting for public hearing. Someone like to move? Adjourn the meeting of council to enter into the 2024 financial plan hearing and presentation.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Moved by Councillor Andy, seconded by Councillor Richard. All those in favor? Carried. Welcome to our 2024 Arm of Gimli Financial Plan public hearing. We are proud to implement for the first time live streaming of our financial plan for our community. Direct engagement is a cornerstone pillar for full disclosure and transparency. Collaboration and engagement with respectful interaction within council will lead to better informed decision making. It is important that our residents hear directly from council the state of the operations of the municipality. This gives everyone an opportunity firsthand to see democracy in action and demonstrates how your elected representatives conduct themselves representing your interests. You will receive factual information directly as it happens rather than rely on forms of media and interpretations. Our CAO has some opening remarks.
Welcome. I'm honored to stand before you today as we present the financial plan for our municipality. As the Chief Administrative Officer, it is my responsibility to ensure that our financial resources are managed effectively and transparently to meet the needs of our community. The 2024 budget reflects our commitment to fiscal responsibility, strategic planning, and community development. It has been carefully crafted to address the priorities and challenges facing our municipality while also fostering growth and prosperity for all residents of the community. One of the key priorities of the 2024 budget is infrastructure development. We have allocated funds to improve our roads, public infrastructure, and obtain the equipment that is needed to enhance the quality of life for our residents and attract new businesses to our community. By investing in infrastructure, we are laying the foundation for substantial growth and economic prosperity. Another focus of the 2024 budget is on public services and programs. We have allocated resources to support essential services such as fire protection, waste management, and recreation facilities. These services are vital to the well-being of our community and ensure that all residents have access to the resources they need to thrive. In addition to the infrastructure and public services, the 2024 budget also includes provisions for community engagement and consultation. We are committed to listening to the needs of the priorities of the residents and working collaboratively to address them. By fostering a culture of transparency and accountability, we can build trust and strengthen the bonds that unite us as a community. As we move forward with the implementation of the 2024 budget, I encourage all residents to stay informed and engaged in the decision-making process. Your input and feedback are invaluable as we work to shape the future of our municipality and create a vibrant and prosperous community for generations to come. In closing, I would like to express my gratitude to the council members, staff, and residents who have contributed to the development of the 2024 budget. Together, we can overcome challenges, seize opportunities, and build a brighter future for the Arm of Gimli. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Kevin Shudd, Mayor of Gimli. I'd like to introduce our council, management team, core departments that are responsible for the administration, public works, recreation services, administration, CAO Kelly Cosgrove, Assistant CAO Kristen Strachan, Director of Public Works Ron Hollick, Director of Recreation Services Brenna Phelps, Public Works Oversight Councilors Kurt Reichert and Andy Dam, Recreation Oversight Councilor Richard Petrowski and Kurt Reichert, Administration Oversight Councilor Thora Paulson will be presenting the budget tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Chad. Today's presentation marks an important milestone in our journey towards a better future. With the 2024 to 2029 financial plan, we are taking a big step forward in achieving our community's goals of growth, sustainability, and protection. As we move forward, it's important to keep in mind that our progress is not limited to the current year, but it extends well beyond that. This is why we have a 5-year plan that reflects our efforts to plan for the future and address Gimli's future needs. As Bill Gates once said, most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. And that is what we're doing. We're planning for the long term and taking bold steps towards achieving our vision. We have a responsibility to sustain our infrastructure and services, and we are making progress towards that goal. We are renewing our aging water lines, replacing public works equipment, and implementing the best asset management practices for rural municipalities. This budget provides resources to assess and maintain our assets effectively, extending their life, and reducing long-term costs. With this plan, we are not just investing in our community's future, but we are also creating a legacy that future generations will benefit from. As we move forward, we have several exciting projects lined up. For instance, by the end of 2024, will have completed the renewal of the aging town utility water lines on 5th, 6th, and 7th. We are also anticipating spending $12 million on water line renewal between 2025 and 2026 for the eastern half of the old town of Gimli utility. We are also planning to replace the roof at the Gimli Recreation Center soon, and will allocate $1.6 million for this and other improvements in the building. Additionally, we will be replacing the beach walkway with a wider one to address the growing number of users, and have allocated $200,000 of funding. Further, we are committed to reducing the solid waste we produce and its accompanying greenhouse gas emissions, and to defer costly expansions of the solid waste grounds. We are taking a small step this year by subsidizing 200 in-house compost units. If you are interested in purchasing one, please contact our office. Gimli is a thriving community that aims to maintain balance between development and preservation of its infrastructure and services. Thus, the financial plan for the community addresses the pressing issue of protecting what is essential to us in various ways. One of the most notable investments is the purchase of a new aerial platform fire truck in 2024, which is worth an estimated $2.7 million. This purchase will further enhance the already excellent fire department's capabilities. Additionally, $240,000 has been allocated to acquire a new rapid response vehicle, a scissor lift, and Jaws of Life equipment. While the 5-year plan includes another
$2.1 million to replace other existing equipment. As representatives of the community, we also have a duty to ensure regulations and bylaws are in place to minimize negative impacts on the community. Last year, we passed a bylaw to govern short-term rental units, which has been one of the first of its kind in Manitoba. To enforce this regulation and others, we have recently passed a bylaw to move towards a more enforceable regime. This will better enable us to collect fines for non-compliance. We have also contacted a company that can provide surveillance of all properties. As a community, it is imperative that we take charge of addressing population growth and housing shortages in Manitoba. To achieve this, we need to study and learn from other communities that have been successful in this regard. Our first step is to evaluate our current situation, determine the kind of housing required in our community, and ensure that Gimli remains an affordable place to live. We have a budget that will help us achieve these goals. This budget includes a capacity study of our wastewater plant, as we need to ensure that we have enough space before expanding our population. Additionally, it contains funding for a housing needs assessment. The information obtained from these reports will help us determine the future direction of our zoning bylaws, which guide growth and development in our community. With this plan, we can confidently move forward in shaping the future of our community. Finally, this budget allocates additional funds to enhance our operational capacity and evaluate the acceptable service standards within our community. We are collaborating with our Public Works, Recreation and Leisure Department to establish standards that align with the community's expectations. This includes prioritizing cleanliness on streets, beaches, and public facilities, improving and developing sidewalks, improving the maintenance of small infrastructure items such as street signs and lamp posts. This is a gradual process and cannot be achieved overnight. But we are steadily progressing in this direction and are satisfied with our staff's efforts to improve the community's cleanliness over the past year. And on that note, I would like to express gratitude on behalf of Council for all the time, energy, and efforts from our staff in helping bring this budget together. A sincere thank you to Kelly, Doreen, Kristen, Ron, and Brenna. And with that, we move to the financial presentation. The document that we will be viewing is available on the Gimli website as well. Okay, and with that, another welcome to everyone here. And welcome to the 2024 Financial Plan hearing. This presentation will give a general overview of the 2024 Financial Plan. There will be an opportunity for questions following the presentation, or if you would like, you're welcome to email your questions to the municipal office at Gimli, at rmgimli.com. The financial plan. After a careful and extensive review, Council makes the financial decisions for the municipality. When making those decisions, their role as elected officials is to safeguard the taxpayers' money and make the best use of financial resources while maintaining or improving service levels. At the center of the municipal finance system is the budget. Through the budget, Council decides the municipality's priorities for the current year and the upcoming 5 years by balancing the funds for each program or service. The budget is the single most important policy decision Council makes each year. Careful budget planning and control means better service for the residents. A budget of the municipality reflects its policies and strategic plan. The 2024 challenges. The main challenges in 2024 continue to reflect Council's ongoing directive to make every effort to manage the existing debt servicing and minimize taxation impacts by balancing the increased growth in service delivery to our assessment growth. Council continues to balance a large number of community requests for project funding in alignment with the delivery of expected and required municipal services, as well as funding reserves. Commitment to continue to find new ways to manage the delivery of municipal and community services in the most effective and cost-effective manner. To minimize the use of borrowing for capital purchases, both current and long-term, with grant opportunities. To maintain the goals of our long-range debt management and the establishment of new revenue sources for the municipality. To always provide a balanced approach to managing the needs of the municipality while remaining mindful of the importance of being stewards of the environment. To prepare and protect for future growth, sustainability of our community. Taxation. Every year, Council meets to set the municipal budget for the coming year. After revenues, such as grants from other governments and user fees are taken into account, the balance of the budget must come from property taxes, which is referred to the general mill rate. The formula used to calculate taxes is portioned assessment times mill rate divided by 1,000. The 2023 to 2024 mill rate comparison. Evergreen School Division mill rate has decreased from 8.14 in 2023 to 8.128 in 2024. The provincial levy increase from 9.562 in 2023 to 9.818 in 2024, an increase of 0.256 of a mill. The municipality's general mill rate has increased from 14.206 to 14.788, an increase of 0.582 of a mill, equals to 4.10% increase. When taking the general debt and additional contributions to reserves into consideration, the increase is between 4.94 and 5.35%. Where do assessments come from? Provincial Assessment Services is responsible for the assessment of all real and personal property in the province and outside of the city of Winnipeg. Properties in Manitoba are assessed every 2 years to ensure assessment values keep pace with changing real estate market values. 2023 was a reassessment year based on market values as of April 1st, 2021. On the next slide, you'll see assessment changes, and as mentioned, this information is available on the Gimli website. And further, this slide shows a breakdown of Gimli's assessment by classification. As you can see, a majority of Gimli's assessment is residential property. This next slide shows a comparison of revenues from 2023 budget to the 2024 budget. And I'll highlight a few items. When comparing the 2023 budget to the 2024 budget, the actual revenue was the 2023 to the 2023 actual, the revenue was just over $3 million less than anticipated. This was a net result of reserve transfers were budgeted at just over $5 million, and the actual was just over $600,000. The reason for that is projects transcend from year to year, and a lot of the projects identified are still continuing in work. Other revenue for 2023 came in at $1 million over budgeted. This was accomplished by additional grant funding of just over $500,000 and added to taxes of also just over $500,000. This is a comparison of expenditures from 2023 budget, 2023 actual, and the 2024 budget. Comparing the expenditures of the 2024 budget to the 2023 budget, general government has decreased, and that is due to an insurance claim payout. Protective services has increased, and that is the wages within the negotiation of union for the RCMP. Transportation, also union negotiation increases, insurance increases, additional staffing, and fuel increases. Environmental health is on par, along with the following two: public health and welfare services, environmental development services. Economic development services has an increase, and that is mainly due to increase of tourism and events. Recreation and cultural services increase is reflective of hydro, equipment requirements, and staffing increases. Fiscal services to replenish reserves. Fire, $150,000, general, $130,000, and equipment, $200,000. Those funds are now being allocated to replenish reserves out of the operating. The next slide shows municipal mill rates. And as you can see, the changes are accounted for. The total urban municipal change is an increase of 0.811 of a mill. Total rural municipal is an increase of 0.849 per mil. (2024) mill rate impact for rural. What is the impact of the 2024 budget on municipal portion of property taxes, excluding local improvement levies? Using a residential assessment of $200,000, the 2024 municipal taxes in the rural area, the 2023 taxes in the rural area were $1,426.95. The 2024 municipal taxes will be $1,503.36. This is an increase of $76.41 for the year. And now the 2024 mill rate impact on the urban area. Using a residential assessment of $200,000, the 2023 municipal taxes in the urban area were $1,477.80. The 2024 property taxes will be $1,550.79. This is an increase of $72.99 for the year. The next slide highlights where municipal tax dollars go. Calculations are based on $100 of general municipal taxes levied. This slide again and this presentation is available on the Gimli website. Capital expense planning. Each year, municipalities allocate funds to reserve for long-range planning. Saving funds through reserves over a long period of time allows council to make capital expenditures without significant one-year impacts to property taxes or borrowing. For a list of the 2024 capital items and projects, please refer to page 13 of the 2024 financial plan, available on Gimli's website. And I'll just take a moment to highlight some of the 2023 achievements. Council renamed roads bearing the name Colonization in our community. Established Reconciliation Day as an annual community event. Passed the short-term rental regulation bylaw. Passed the accommodation tax bylaw. Waterline replacement for 5th and 6th project is ongoing. Improved beach washrooms to accommodate year-round access. Celebrated with the Manitoba Métis Federation, the first Manitoba Métis Federation Days in Gimli. Enhanced firefighting fleet with the purchase of a rapid response vehicle. Hosted a blues festival and established it as an annual community event. Had an award-winning ice fishing village and skating track. Paved the outdoor rink. Expanded pickleball programming. Improved drainage at Center and 3rd. Established new management positions to strengthen leadership teams and enhance departmental performance to better serve the community. Purchased a 2020 John Deere 770 GP tandem drive motor grader. Tendered out the wastewater treatment and collection capacity study. Improved asset management plan, strategy and policy, demonstrating council's commitment to asset management. And also received approval on a rec center grant of $700,000. Planned developments and purchase priorities for 2024. The 2024 planned development projects and purchases are identified on the capital budget sheet in the 2024 financial plan on page 13. If these projects are not completed or purchases not made, the funds will not be taken from the reserves. Meeting the 2024 challenge. The 2024 balanced budget has attempted to manage taxation increase by effectively redistributing past budget allocations and providing more efficient use of operational funding while funding reserves and managing our debt servicing requirements. The commitment of Council remains in place to increase revenues and reduce the current dependency on debt to finance capital projects and purchases in the municipality. The long-range debt management program will be reflective of the need to utilize growth to recover a portion of debt financing through utility rates, capital development levies, added taxes, user fees, and a developer pay strategy. The goal is to limit borrowing for infrastructure such as sewer, water, and new roads. Continuing goals. Council will continue with their efforts in the areas of strategic planning and development of long-term funding strategies for upcoming projects, enhancing our community recreational facilities and programs, preserving our heritage, improving the aesthetics of our community, promoting growth and development in the commercial business sector, promoting sustainable, efficient, and growth in the residential sector with the emphasis on housing options. Continually work to provide exemplary municipal operations, municipal servicing, while finding operation efficiencies. This concludes the 2024 financial plan presentation. Thank you, and we welcome your questions and comments.
Thank you very much, Councillor Thora, for a very detailed financial plan. The time, effort put into it is appreciated by all of us, and having it live streamed today for our community to get the facts of our financial plan is very important. At this time, we're very proud to have our operations presentation by our Director of Operations for Public Works, Mr. Ron Hollig. At a later date, he will also be doing a detailed analysis for us on asset management. He's been with us for just over a year now. We're actually privileged to have someone of his stature and abilities and qualifications in our community to put together the modernization of public works, working very closely with administration and council, and taking the time as well to come here tonight to give his presentation on public works on the operations. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Ron Hollig at this time. And ahead of time, we thank you very much for your detailed analysis that you're going to be presenting to everyone right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Kevin. Good evening. My name is Ron Hollig. I'm the Director of Operations. I was hired by the arm of Gimli at the end of April 2023, so I've been with the organization for just over a year now. This is a new position that I was hired into to provide administrative support for our utility and public works departments. I was born and raised in Winnipeg. I'm married and I have 3 adult children. I've been coming to Gimli as a year-round cottager for over 50 years. My wife and I moved permanently from Winnipeg to Gimli in the spring of 2017, so I'm very familiar with the town and its surrounding communities from Sandy Hook to Silver Harbor. The The following slides are some of the initiatives and activities that are being done. The most important part of my role is the performance and well-being of others, as they're the most important resource that the arm of Gimli has. In that regard, there's an increase in safety and equipment training budgets for the 2024 to help our employees be safer and more proficient in what they do. Last year, a Safety and Health Manual was developed to serve as our guideline to ensure that the Workplace Safety and Health Act and regulations are being met. We implemented a pre- and post-trip logbook early in 2024. New employee orientations now include documented safety training on the tools and equipment that they use. Existing employee safety and equipment training and evaluations are now being documented. Gas detection was installed in our truck bay at the new Public Works Office building located at 120 Municipal Drive earlier this year. As well, safety awareness training was provided, and last year we conducted code of conduct training. Some of the project initiatives we have this year is the ongoing water main renewal project that will continue on 5th Avenue and along 6th Avenue. As well, we will be extending the water main from 5th to 4th Avenue along Center, and that this work is scheduled to begin next week on May 13th, and is scheduled to be completed by November 8th of this year. This project is co-funded with the Manitoba Water Services Board. As was previously announced, the wastewater treatment and collection system capacity study is currently underway to better understand how future growth and development will impact the collection and treatment systems. In addition, odor control at the Gimli wastewater treatment plant is being investigated to find solutions. Airport costs for maintenance are increasing, in essence, to meet Transport Canada requirements, and there's an increase in the paved road maintenance and rehabilitation budgets. Tender documents are currently being prepared to contract paved road, utility cut repairs and road patching, as well as crack sealing, and using a combination of hot oil and stone to seal paved roads so that they don't deteriorate as quickly. According to the Cost of Poor Roads in Canada final report prepared for CAA in March of 2021, spending $1 on pavement preservation today may eliminate or delay spending $6 to $10 on costly rehabilitation or reconstruction later on. So it's important that we maintain the roads we have so that they last longer and don't cost aren't as expensive to rehabilitate later on. Some of the initiatives in work management is we added additional request types and service tracker to better manage and organize service requests. Regular meetings are held with senior staff to discuss current and upcoming operations and maintenance activities. And we continue to look to find efficiencies and leveraging the technology we have to manage our work. We have a graphical information system with layers of data regarding the municipality, and we are working on collecting data so that we can expand on that database as well as perform condition assessments so that we know what condition these assets are at and be able to provide follow-up remedial work to maintain them. As well, we're upgrading the aged equipment that's in use. Another initiative regarding work management is hiring of additional staff to meet the increased service level demands placed on the department. We've hired a gardener to improve community beautification. We plan on planting 100 trees this year that are given to us free by the Eastern Interlake Planning District, and having a gardener working with us to help ensure that these plants that are being planted will thrive and grow strong. As well, additional planters are being placed in public spaces within the municipality. This is also a transition year for the care of Leo's Garden in front of the town office and the Viking Park. We've recently hired 10 seasonal laborers, and this is an increase of 4 more than last year. We've also hired 2 equipment operators, and a second landfill operator was hired. A full-time laborer was hired last fall so that the recycling depot can be open 5 days a week, making it more convenient for residents to drop off e-waste, used oil and household hazardous waste, and bulk recycling at the recycling depot at 292 Anson Street in the industrial park. The used oil Eco Center was also relocated to the recycling depot, consolidating the drop-off location for these products. Last year, 2 additional utility operators were hired for the water treatment and distribution and wastewater treatment and collection systems to ensure they are adequately operated and maintained. Regarding fleet and equipment inventory and a replacement plan, we created a fleet and equipment inventory spreadsheet and continue to refine and update it with more information as it becomes available. I meet with my senior public works staff I met with them to review that inventory spreadsheet, and we developed a replacement guide based on hours, condition, and kilometers for when equipment should ideally be replaced. From there, we created a 20-year fleet and equipment plan to forecast when equipment needs to be replaced based on its condition, hours, and kilometers. We developed a daily equipment inspection logbook, and this picture there shows that logbook for employees to complete daily pre-post-trip vehicle and equipment inspections so that equipment hours and kilometers can be documented so we can track usage on the various equipment. Based on that information that comes back from the operators, we created a spreadsheet as an equipment work order to track and manage the maintenance work that is being done on the equipment. Regarding this year's budget, throughout 2023, took notes and made comments made by council administration to capture capital projects to work on in the coming years. We added these to the capital budget spreadsheet for council discussion and prioritization. We prepared the operating and capital budgets for public works and utility departments with consideration to best practices and historical actual spending. On March 28th, we met with the Public Works Oversight Committee to review the capital budget, and on April 24th, met with the Public Works Oversight Committee to review the operating budget. Regarding asset management, assets are broken down into 8 categories: bridges, buildings, fleet and equipment, recreation features, road network, stormwater network, water network, and wastewater network. We met regularly with a Catalyst representative, who's the software provider, over the winter to import existing data from other platforms into Catalyst and to better understand the software. This year we're introducing it for dust control. We're mapping our dust control locations on our geographical information, and we imported the data from a GPS unit that used to be used, and intend to use an iPad for the driver to follow to identify where dust control products being applied. We're also looking to add a graveling program and map that this year so that we know where gravel, or what mile sections gravel gets put on the gravel roads in the municipality. In 2023, we added some recreation features such as beach access stairs, and we now know there's 26 beach access stairs, 2 of which will be replaced this year in Spruce Sands and in Lock Woods. Those are being manufactured right now. In the playgrounds, there are 12 playgrounds throughout the municipality, and we are just finalizing, or if council approves the grass cutting tender soon, we'll be weeding those playgrounds on a regular basis this year. Shelters, there's 9 shelters, and many shelters last year were re-shingled and stained, and there are 39 buildings that the RM owns that is in the database. Asset management is an ongoing continuous improvement activity that begins with training, data collection, and condition assessments and defined levels of service. Before you can create asset management plans, though, you need to create an asset registry that lists all of the various assets that the RM owns, and that's part of the data collection. The next step is to perform condition assessments on those assets so that you know what maintenance is needed to keep them in a usable and safe condition. This will allow the municipality to prepare long-term financial plans to continue to operate and maintain the assets for as long as possible until they need to be replaced. We are undertaking to implement and start up an asset management steering committee, and that kickoff meeting will be held at the end of this month. The terms of reference and a meeting agenda are drafted. The next steps of this are to continue to train staff so that they can leverage the technology that we have to continue to collect asset data and conduct condition assessments. The goal is to become more proactive rather than reactive in the operation and maintenance of the assets the municipality owns. Asset management is an integrated approach involved in all organizational departments to effectively manage existing and new assets to deliver services to customers. The intent is to maximize benefits, reduce risks, and provide satisfactory levels of service to the community in a sustainable manner, providing an optimum balance. Good asset management practices are fundamental to achieving sustainable communities. Asset management is not a singular activity or a project. Rather, it's a systematic process that facilitates decision-making regarding the construction, acquisition, operation, maintenance, renewal, replacement, and disposition of assets in the most cost-effective manner. The good news is that process has begun. Thank you.
With that, I'd like to sorry, I guess apologize with the button here. I would like to thank our Director of Public Works, Mr. Ron Hollig, for his presentation, for his commitment to the community. I knew his dad for many years. He's actually has always been a resident of Gimli, and it's really nice to have someone homegrown with a vested interest, with the passion, understanding, enthusiasm, and the drive to do what we need to do with regards to public works. And on behalf of all of council here tonight, your efforts over the last year have not gone unnoticed, but are greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Kevin.
Yes, thank you, Ron. That was a very good presentation. Very well informed. Thanks.
Next, we have presentation from our Recreation Services, our Director of Recreation, Brenna Phelps. We're very proud to have her on board, overseeing recreation. There's a lot of things that have been talked about over the last year. Council listened and heard from a lot of people with regards to recreation. Through the collaboration amongst council and bringing Brenna on board to look after it, we do have the right person. She's got a lot of work to do. At the same time, we know with who we have, what she's capable of, and what she's done in other communities. And she is a homegrown girl too, which is another thing which is very nice, is having, you know, someone and having people employed by the municipality that have their vested interest and their ties to the community and understand the needs of the people and the community. And at this time, Brenna will give her presentation with respect to recreation services. And on behalf of council, thank you very much for taking the time to come here this evening.
Okay, so I just kind of brought in a little bit of an intro just on the last, I've been back for 4 months. Previously was here for 5 years, so I'm pretty well versed in the rec department with the RM, obviously in a different capacity now, but yeah, so I'm happy to be back. So I'm kind of going to go over a little bit of how the department looks right now and then dive into 2024 budget. So just a little snapshot here. I just wanted to, Recreation and Leisure Services is a department that has seen major growth over the last 10 years. We're still growing, and we need to make sure we're setting the department up for success reflected in budgetary decisions. Rec and Leisure has the ability to provide some cost recovery in areas of the budget, but recreation is a service that is provided to our residents, which does involve some subsidy from the municipality in order to stay affordable and attainable for a healthier community. So this slide just kind of shows what our current department staff structure looks like. So as I mentioned, the director position began in January of 2024. It was a brand new position created. So you'll kind of see the different branches that's falling underneath the position currently, and then what branches off from them respectively. The only thing that's not highlighted within this chart is the volunteer work that we receive for various festivals and events that go on, which pretty well each pillar will oversee in some capacity. So that's the only part not reflected within this chart, but just for reference, and we're going to work on a bit of a communication plan for any patron of the rec department and how and who they contact when. Upcoming for 2024. So there's lots of good things that are in the works already. I've included in there the festival and event schedule that Alan's been working on. It is a living document, so it does get updated anytime that there's another event that gets thrown in. And then just kind of like a little splash on the side, some of the events that we know are happening right away. There's Free Fitness Saturdays again, so that's a sponsored initiative. So Jan Karalik, also known as Zumba Jan, she does a free Zumba class in the harbor every Saturday. We have our programmer working on various programs. Soccer's now under the RM umbrella again. Baseball's growing. We have double the amount of teams that we did last year. The Harbor Series is a full docket again of some very highly respected bands across the province. Day camp will be happening, and recently, that was on one of the recent agendas that I think a lot of residents are excited for, is the addition of a kayak launch at Willow Creek. So Norcall Easy Docks will be donating that kayak launch, and I know a lot of people do use that area to go in, and they all have very muddy feet and muddy boats by the end of it, so the kayak launch is going to be a very welcome addition. Oh, and the Old Time Dance coming back. So that was the rec department years ago did put on the Old Time Dance at the pavilion. So that's a newly brought back initiative that it's a combined effort between tourism and recreation. So this year, areas of focus that I am going to be having for the department as well as the rest of the staff. Communication and marketing is one of the #1 priorities for 2024. Consistent communication is key, and making sure that it's very clear and concise as to what we're putting out there. And then marketing of our events and our programs to have maximal registration for those. Staffing and training. The biggest thing on this is staff retention. How can we get staff in and keep them in our facilities? And then making sure that they're trained up, whether it be with the refrigeration ticket requirement or other various areas of the department. Programming, I'm working with the programmer to take on some additional tasks as well as expand what is currently being offered. Sidewalk and trail development, connectivity is the key piece here. So working with the Urban Promenade Group and the Active Trails Group, and getting some collaboration there on having those key connecting points throughout the municipality for safer active transportation. Continued growth, so recreation is constantly adapting and changing and making sure that we're in line with that and keeping up with it. Like I said, we've seen a ton of growth over the last 10 years, so just continuing that progression, and so that'll be another key focus. And then to align with the work that Ron's been putting in and Public Works has been putting in with asset management. So making sure that our inventory lists are fully up to date, and also looking at updating a lot of our procedural documents and how we are running things throughout the department. So, areas within the 2024 budget that I'm looking at making efficiencies, these are the 6 key points. So the rec center, the aquatic center, parks and other facilities, programming, staff, and fees. Likely we won't see a lot of these changes reflected until at the earliest 2025 budget, if not 2026 budget. Like I mentioned, I've only been back for 4 months, so a lot of these things put into place it'll just take a little bit of time. So one of the key areas for efficiencies this year is the Gimli Rec Center. So in early 2024, we did replace all the arena lighting to a more energy efficient bulb. It's actually replacing the entire fixture with 3 different components to one fixture, which is now just the bulb and everything all in one. So cost-wise, down the road, it's a cost savings. And we also received $3,600 back from Efficiency Manitoba through a rebate, which was a good chunk of what the new bulbs cost to purchase. And the photo that's included here, every single light in the arena is on in this photo. This just shows the difference between the new bulbs to the left compared to the old bulbs on the right. So including the bleachers, we're seeing a lot more light in the facility, and it's a really nice thing to have that extra light in there. The curling rink will see the same bulbs replaced this year as well. We'll be applying for another rebate through Efficiency Manitoba, and so this will allow for energy efficient lighting on both of the ice surfaces, which will result in a lower hydro cost. We're also looking into motion switches for the facility. Specifically in the office spaces and the washrooms. So this will allow for lights to be turned on when there's motion. So if a patron's in the bathroom or someone's in the office, and then in the downtime, the lights will automatically shut off. The fire hall does have these equipped in their multi-purpose area, their meeting space. So I know for those who have been in a meeting there, you just have to either wave your hands every half hour or whatever you need to do. But I think for the outcome of it, it's worth it. So with the roof being fixed, whether it's just the repair or the replacement, we'll also see cost savings with hydro by reducing the amount of heat that's escaping the facility. Excuse me. This is not having as many leaks is also going to reduce the amount of moisture in the facility, so we should see a change in the air as well. The leaking stopping is also going to be a cost reduction budget-wise because it'll be a lot less maintenance and repair required. Right now, before any larger event, or at least a couple times a year, we're replacing ceiling tiles that are damaged from the water leaking through. For those who have been in the facility, you can see like it's a really brown, yucky look. So usually before we have a larger event, or if we know that the facility is going to be full, we'll put up a new white ceiling tile so it looks better, and then just once the leak happens again, replace it. So not having the leaking roofs will be a lot less ceiling tiles that we'll have to replace within the facility. And then it's also going to decrease the cost of contractors coming in if they do have to do a repair to the leak. So we'll see that reflected with the roof being fixed. And then with summer ice, we're not putting summer ice in this year because of the roof repair / replacement. So while we're doing this, we're going to do a cost analysis at the end of the year on what the difference is in having summer ice in versus not having summer ice in. Obviously, if it's a roof replacement, our numbers are going to be slightly skewed just with the different airflow coming in. But if it is the repair where it's kind of operation as normal inside, we'll get a fairly accurate number from the utility charges. Excuse me. So we'll take a look at it, and if there's a substantial cost savings in not having summer ice put in, then I think that's a conversation that we'll have to have, whether summer ice is really going to be a priority for the department, or whether we continue to not include summer ice within our annual budget. If there isn't a huge cost savings and we do decide to go with summer ice again, then we'll just have to look at a strategy. We'll be able to have a little bit more of an accurate cost comparison and go backwards to see what our minimum required amount of bookings is. So, for example, if we know we'll have 200 hours booked from beginning of August to middle of September, then we know that we're going to make our bottom line with summer ice and it'll be easy to justify putting it in. If we only have 40 hours booked and we're concerned about not filling those hours, then it'll be that conversation of, do we put the summer ice in, or do we wait until September when the temperatures are a little bit lower and it's not as big of an impact on our facility. Okay, so then the next item there is marketing strategy for available ice. So between Terry, who's our recreation clerk, Tyler, who's manager of parks and facilities, and myself, we're going to be looking at programs and opportunities to communicate the open ice slots to get them booked and maximize our revenue. So during minor hockey season, it's a bit tricky before we know the schedules. Once we know the schedules, if we can see that we have larger blocks of open ice time, we'll be reaching out to various organizations such as Shoot to Score or camps in the city to see if they'd be interested in coming out to Gimli to host a camp, looking at partnering with the hotels for a stay-and-play type system, and just kind of seeing what we can do to try and get any open ice booked. And then utilizing our curling ice. So many times on weekends, the curling ice is sitting dormant. We're going to look at offering either free curling or other curling programs during those hours so that we can maximize the use of staff time. This will in turn increase the interest in curling and could potentially grow our league so that we're getting more hourly bookings. Okay, the Gimli Aquatic Center. So the first area that we're going to be watching this year is our chemical monitoring. There were some issues with the Aquatic Center last year that resulted in a substantial increase in the cost of chemical. So we're going to make sure that we have the proper testing equipment, and I already have the Gimli Aquatic Center manager has begun additional training, both in some clinics as well as one-on-one training with an experienced pool facilitator, so that we can make sure that the best practices are in place. To segue to that, she's also going to diagnose any issues prior to calling maintenance staff so that the transition can be smoother and time won't be wasted or missed for a simple chemical addition. The test kit that we're ordering is also going to have additional readings so that we can make sure that we're finding the proper solution quicker, rather than adding chemical that may or may not be the solution that we need. The heater, the pool heater also needs to be replaced, which is reflected in the capital budgeting. And what the new heater is going to do is going to increase the efficiency, so we'll see a lesser charge on our hydro, as well as it's going to help with the chemical imbalances that we've been seeing. Having the proper temperature in a pool is going to help maintain your chemical, so having that heater replaced will help with that. It's also going to reduce the amount of canceled classes or refunds for pool programming that we've had to do the past few years when the heater has gone out and the pool temperature is too cold to host a class. Repairs being completed under the pool will reduce the amount of water loss that we've seen. So that's going to directly impact our utility charges. Again, the repairs that have been completed to stop the leaking is also going to help with the chemical consumption. There'll also be less issues long-term with the mechanical components underneath, such as the pumps for the slides that have been needed to have been replaced the last couple years, again, which will increase the revenue by having everything fully operational. Procedural documents are being updated as well this year with the Gimli Aquatic Center manager. So the proper procedures in place will reduce the risk of things not being done properly that end up resulting in more repair and maintenance required. And our new staff structure. So I've just kind of tweaked around how many supervisor positions that we have there. So budget-wise for staff, we'll see a bit of a change there, but then it also will help in the efficiency of the productivity of the staff. Parks and other facilities. So Ron alluded to this in his presentation as well. So there's been conversations had with Public Works before I came back with the municipality. So with the playgrounds and parks around the perimeter of the town and out, instead of having Public Works do the grass cutting and then recreation staff going and doing the weeding in the playgrounds, it will be just Public Works staff doing that. So we're going to save on mileage and staff time. So that'll increase our efficiencies in other areas of the department. And the splash pad, a new controller is going to be installed. So that's going to stop the constant flow of water. It'll be back to the touch to turn on the water features. And that's also going to help with the cleanliness of the splash pad and the buildup that results in it getting slippery and needing the extra staff time to clean and maintain it. Programming. So programming is one of the most noticeable cost recovery sections of our department. The courses right now are good, but I'm having the programmer grow the programs that we offer. The goal for programming is that any person could walk through the doors, see what's being offered, and have something that they're interested in. So every single person will be able to pick a program. So this is going to increase revenue coming into the department and provide the programmer the ability to subsidize some of the smaller programs with programs that have grown and are successful. With the growth comes the need for space, so making sure that all available spaces are being used as often as possible will also increase programming. So, we don't have any space sitting empty that could have something going on. And the programmer also has the ability to flex their schedule to accommodate their evening and weekend work, so reducing the amount of overtime that has gone in and using the flex schedule. And also kind of streamlining to manage the planning of programming. So having consistent start times, end times, downtime, it's going to provide them with a bit more organization with their day-to-day tasks and make their productivity increase. So for staff, so clothing, taking a look at how things have been done historically, clothing's been purchased for maintenance staff, park patrol, and lifeguards annually. We'll also be looking this year at ordering some t-shirts for the day camp staff, just so that they're marked, and when in the community it's known and recognized that they are part of the rec department. So what I'm working on with a local company is ordering the clothing in more of a bulk capacity and storing it at the rec center so that there's availability earlier, and we're not doing a rush order every May to get the clothing in for the staff hired. And then we can strategically order in the off season so that we can stock up and make sure that we're getting the right price and the best price, and occasionally ordering in bulk does provide with a lower cost. And then the second point here is reducing overtime. Overtime for our staff did really hurt our budget previously, so ensuring that we're getting the right trained staff in place and accommodating our facility schedule to reduce the amount of overtime that's being accumulated. There's a lot ongoing with the province and the refrigeration ticket that it's hard to predict right now, so it's hopefully we'll see some positive changes happening with that. That'll help with staff overtime, but that's a focus for this year for sure. Our fee structure. So fees for the rec department have not been updated since 2018. Since 2018, we've seen it's a totally new world with inflation and with everything post-pandemic. So that's the new fee structure will be presented in 2024. Majority of the new fees will come into effect and be reflected in the 2025 budget. A lot of this is to accommodate for some of the programs that have already done their budgeting process for the upcoming seasons. So we would see these taking effect 2025. And also updating the fee structure to reflect the growth that we have seen in the department. So for example, we use the dry ice surfaces for curling and hockey now, so making sure that there's a fee to reflect that use. With the COVID clinic being in the rec center, there's now air conditioning on the curling side, so making sure that our utility and operational costs are being covered with the rental fee. And if we do decide to go with a summer ice again, having a separate summer ice rate that would be a higher rental rate to reflect the additional cost to operate summer ice. So that would all be included within this new fee structure. And, sorry, I lost my notes there for a sec. And we're updating all of our rental contracts with the hope to eliminate the risk of any discounts or refunds being required. So specifically, there's going to be a pre-event walkthrough, in-person, face-to-face walkthrough with the manager of parks and facilities and the person with the booking. They're going to walk through, they're going to look at the cleanliness, they're going to see if there's anything that needs to be done ahead of their booking, sign off on it so that we don't see any last-minute cleaning or maintenance needed that would result in overtime or, like I said, result in a discount or a refund for their booking. So there's a couple other things that I am working on. I don't have enough on them to speak to at this time, but by next year I should be able to speak to more on how we're going to see some efficiencies within the department. And yeah, that's about it.
Thank you very much, Brenna, our Director of Recreation and Leisure Services, for your presentation and hard work. And for the general public listening, Brenna's, as she's mentioned, has been with us for approximately 4 months. She's got a big job ahead of her. She has a supportive council, and we will get to where we need to get to with the help and direction from her and the guidance with recreation and leisure services, which is so important for our community, for healthy and well-being, active living. There's a lot of great, exciting things that will be coming from what I understand from her, so stay tuned for that. At this time, does council have any questions?
I had a little
Error on my teleprompter. With the 2023 achievements, the purchases for the public works equipment.
I don't know. So I just had a little error on my teleprompter on the 2023 purchases for the public works equipment. The John Deere grader was not purchased last year. I know that specifically because I led in the purchase of the new machine. And I know this information was added, sort of one of the last things to get added to this presentation. So probably just a save error on the computer. So we'll be sure to remove that and update that accurately.
Just like to say thank you, Brenna, for your presentation. It was really well informed. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenna.
With that, is there any questions or discussions from the public hearing? We have no one in the gallery tonight, so, well, we do have one. Okay. He was so quiet. If there's any questions from the gallery of anyone at this time, we'll hear them. Okay. With that, since there's nothing else from council, I suggest and recommend that we close the public hearing and reconvene the special meeting of council.
I will move.
Okay, moved by Councillor Kurtz, seconded by Councillor Richard. All those in favor? Carried. Next we have on the agenda is from our special meeting this evening is a financial plan for the 2024 financial plan to give first reading to hereby approve the 2024 financial plan, capital budget and 5-year capital expenditure program for 2025, all inclusive as presented.
I'll move.
Moved by Councillor Thoris, seconded by Councillor Kurt. All those in favor? Okay. Opposed? Carried. Next, we have, council, we hear guy first reading to bylaw 2024-004, being a bylaw to levy taxes for the year 2024.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Moved by Councillor Sora, seconded by Councillor Richard. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Council to hereby adjourn a special meeting of May 9th, 2024. Would someone like to move? Moved by Councillor Andy.
I'll second.
Seconded by Councillor Kurt. Any, all those in favor? Carried. That includes our special meeting for a financial plan. I'd like to thank everyone who listened in on it tonight, and council will be convening tomorrow to give the second and third reading for deliberations on our budget. Once again, thank you for being here this evening, listening in it, and with our first attempt at live streaming, I have to applaud and commend all of council. This is something that had come up in the election, had been talked about for many, many years. Today alone, there was a few glitches to get going, but everybody worked together, and I have to thank our administration for getting the technical difficulties dealt with, for council's patience and support, but as well tonight, thanking two of our team members here in management, Ron with Public Works, Brenna with Recreation and Leisure, for their presentation, and it gives the public an insight to the direction as a community that we're going, and the best is yet to come, and we all look forward to working with you and having the support of the community to show them what we have to offer, what we can do, and with everybody contributing and working together, there is no better place to live than our community. And thank you, council, for this evening.